so super important, and we'll kind of touch on this again in the call, but we want to make sure at the end of each week that we're submitting our numbers, okay? So we're submitting our business on the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, as well as the last day of each calendar month. The submit link is available in Slack. It's also emailed out. If you have any questions at all about what submit pertains of, what business you should be including, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me directly or reach out to your upline. They'll be able to answer those questions for you as well. So top 5 submit for May week 3. Nice submit week, guys. We have Marisa at 13,932, Heather Robeson in Alaska slaying insurance via vacation at 14,813, Afro at 17,217, Rami absolutely crushed it this week, 23,017, and Mr. Steven Staleman at number 1 at 65,800 for the week. Nice job, Steve. Top 5 agents for April. So if you're unfamiliar with submit versus issue paid, if you're gunning for a promotion, you always want to pay attention to your issue paid numbers. So essentially, issue paid business means it was submitted up to the carrier. It means that the policy is in place for the client, and that agent has received the commissions for those policies. So submit essentially is any business that we submitted up to the insurance carrier. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was in force or that the agent was paid or that it was approved, okay? So when we're looking at numbers and we're looking at promotions, how to reach higher comp guidelines, things like that, we want to make sure that we're not paying attention to those submit numbers, that we're paying attention to our issue paid numbers. So this is business, like I said, that was actually approved and agents were paid these commissions. So we have Miss Gina at 37374. Nice job, Gina. Afro at 55669. Andriana at 63138. Absolutely crushing it with IULs. Rami, biggest month thus far. Congratulations, Rami. 85024. All simplified issued life business through the month of January. Absolutely crushed it. Congratulations to you. And Mr. Steve Staleman also slayed the month of April. All annuity business. So 118543. Congratulations to you, Steve. You are the number 1 agent for the month of April. I know you worked so hard to achieve that and to make sure that you hit the cruise. I am so proud of you. Congratulations. I have Marisa, Rami, and Heather pinned with me over here just because we're going to go through a lot of updates on this call. So guys, if you want to unmute, feel free to interrupt me at any time. And congratulations to these 6 agents. All of these agents qualified for the cruise, which means they wrote either over $100,000 in simplified issued life business in a 3-month time frame. I think Rami may have even doubled that. And Steven Staleman and Gina L, they both qualified as top annuity producers. So they were in the top 15 annuity production for that 3-month time frame. We were the only team in FFL which had 2 annuity producers in the top 15. So congratulations to all of you. This is a massive accomplishment. And when you're looking at this, it's easy to be in awe by things like this. But the thing that all 6 of these individuals have in common is just that they work. They believe in the system and they put the work in consistently day in and day out. So when you're looking at this graphic, I want you to be inspired, but I don't want you to think that can't be me, because it absolutely can. And if any of you want to unmute, all 3 of you qualified, feel free. Guys, this isn't something that's unattainable, especially with the system that we have here at FFL. The best thing about the system is that it works if you work it. So this is more attainable than some of you may think for yourselves to qualify for what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say incentives. Is that the right word, guys?
Yeah.
To qualify for incentives like this.
I'm going to just add real quick that,
Yeah,
it might not be something you want to do. Maybe you don't want to be on a cruise. Maybe you don't want to spend the money to get the flight to go to the cruise. Maybe your spouse is like, I don't want to go on a cruise. But who cares? Because the cruise is just a bonus. Like, it's cool, it's exciting, but if you don't want that, you still are getting the issue paid numbers, which means money in your checking account. Now, if you then say to me or anybody on here, I don't care to make $100,000 in 3 months. Well, that's a whole nother goat right there. That's different. Um, if you have a dial team, or if you're, seeing Slack or you're paying attention, we're just normal people who work. We literally just work. We don't sit on our computers wasting time looking at whatever. If you don't want to work, that's fine. There's nothing we can do about that. But if you do and you don't want to go on the cruise, you can qualify and not go on. That's perfectly fine. That happens all the time. Who wants to work? Who wants to bring in the money for your family? That's what I've got to say.
Absolutely. And just quickly to stay here for just a second, just like Heather said, I think that that's a great point because, like, let's use Christina. I'm going to use you as an example. Like, Christina gets really, really seasick, like to a point I didn't even know existed. It's like, so obviously Christina might not be incentivized by the cruise, right? But at the same time, it's about the accomplishment of hitting, or it's about the money that's going to your account. It's about knowing, like, hey, I can do this. Like, I'm not confused. I got it. And guys, once you can help 100 families in 3 months, like, you're unstoppable in this business. You can help 100 families in a month if you want, because you actually understand the foundation at that point. So great work, everyone that qualified, and anyone that's pushing to qualify, great work. But I'm really excited to see on the next cruise, because we know that there will be one, if I know Sean Mike, how many more people on the team do qualify. So love you guys. Great work.
All right, and if you haven't heard about this event, you must be living under a rock. The Ignite Sales Conference is less than 2 weeks out. It's going to be the biggest event prior to the 2025 Family First Life Convention. You want to get there and you want to bring anyone and everyone that's interested in learning about the opportunity with you. There's going to be top producers and top leaders from the country speaking at this event. Trey will be speaking, Marisa will be speaking, Andrew Taylor. The list is endless. Take a screenshot if you haven't booked your hotel yet for this event. The event in its own is at Red Rock Casino, but these are the 3 recommended hotels for this event. If you're not able to stay in the Red Rock for some reason, I'm not sure if there's still rooms available. But guys, again, this is going to be the biggest event prior to the FFL 2025 convention, so you want to get there. Drop a attending in the chat if you're going. Just
Fire. I already did it.
Something. Yeah, perfect. Thanks,
Fire.
Heather. Yeah. If you'll be there, just so we can kind of get a head count. And if you haven't registered, please be sure to register after this call, because it is going to sell out. And the last thing you want to do is get there and then not be able to attend the actual event. Did you guys want to add anything?
No, actually, yeah, I do want to add something. If you're not going and you're like, maybe I should go, like, go, and you'll thank yourself after. If you're in this business right now and you're like, well, I really want to write production on those days. Guys, I did that like for like my first year in the business, and quickly found out that I missed out on production because I didn't go to the event, right? When I came back, I was that much stronger. So my point being is, being at an event for literally like all of 24 hours is not going to make or break your week, your month. If anything, it's going to make your month better. It's going to make the rest of the year better. So get yourself there if you're even thinking about it. If you want to take yourself to the next level in this business, you've got to get yourself there. It's going to be huge.
And
Yeah,
I know
you always learn.
Sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know
I
the graphic says June 3rd, but we want to make sure that we're actually there on the 2nd, because there is going to be an event prior to the actual training event on Sunday night. So you want to plan to be there for Sunday night and then all throughout the day on June 3rd, which is a Monday as well.
Yep, just make it happen, get there, because if you're serious about this business, this is like a bonus convention. I was calling it Convention 2.0, because all of what we're learning at this time, and everything's out, the schedule's out. It's just going to be incredible, and you're always going to want to attend things like this with the amount of people that you're going to see and hear, and it just inspires you to always be better in your business.
100%. Absolutely, Heather. All right, and book of the month for June is going to be the 12-week year. If reading isn't necessarily your forte, I always say this, but download the Audible app in your phone's bookstore. Audible is absolutely amazing. Take a screenshot of this. It will also be posted in Slack as well as social media. This is an amazing book. We kind of sit
Christina,
back.
could I hit on this? I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interject.
I'm like waiting for you guys to interrupt me, so please.
Okay, because on this particular book, guys, I had read it a long time ago, but I reread it more recently. And I was like, wow, this has a lot of great points, right? At the beginning of the year, we look at the year and we're like, this is what we want to get done, right? And it can feel like it's so far out that we have like all the time in the world, or it can feel overwhelming in the moment of like, how am I going to get from 1 to 10, right? And I think that it's really important. Honestly, this book really opened up my mindset in terms of we focus on more short-term goals to get to the long-term goal, and we're meeting those small commitments, just like we talk about daily goals, right, in sales and things of that sort. These small compounds are going to feel a lot stronger. So this has changed the game for me. I'm starting my first 12-week year as of this upcoming Sunday. And I'm going to run through it. I'm going to see what happens. And I think it's going to be amazing. But yeah, if you haven't read the book, it's a book that even if you're not going to do a 12-week year, like just read it, because it's a lot. It gives you a lot of insight of what I personally was wasting my time doing that was not helping or serving me in my personal or business life. And being able to differentiate that sometimes through different people's voices, I think is really important. So it helped me out a lot. So thanks for making it the book of the month, Christina.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, and we are super, super excited about the launch of the virtual office this upcoming Monday. This is going to be massive for everyone involved. So as many of you know, we've recently kind of joined forces, Team FFL, if you will, with FFL National, as well as Dominique Rogers' group, Golden State. So essentially, we kind of sat back and we thought, what's going to make the most sense? Instead of having all these micro dial teams, if you will, when everyone, has X amount of agents in these micro dial teams, let's all come together and make something massive and all help each other out. So we are super, super excited about the launch of the virtual office this upcoming Monday. Again, it's going to be absolutely massive for everyone involved. Do you guys want to touch on this at all?
Yeah, I'm going to really quickly say I'm most excited about the fact that it's a virtual office. The majority of us are not in home anymore, and the fact that it's titled virtual office makes me excited. The team that we're having this with is incredible. We're all going to learn so much just by listening to them on their scheduled times to dial. So you should it's literally from all day. This is the dial team, and this is where how you join the dialteam.fflall.com. There's going to be multiple rooms that we can go to listen to different things, to do our trainings, to listen to mortgage and final expense and IULs, and even recruiting. So I'm really excited to join. This is top people in the business to listen to. And if you are trying to increase your business, just being on there at all times while you're working is going to be really important to increase your verbal words and word tracks and all that, and get those in there to be better.
Thank you,
Exactly.
Heather.
As what Heather said, the main thing with the Dallas team is if you guys think now you're helping on the Dallas team and you're having trouble, imagine not going into a Dallas team or a virtual office where you're able to actually hear many more opinions. So maybe someone may not pick to you on the current virtual office you're currently dialing in, but now having more exposure to many more groups and different agency managers, someone that you actually may hear may pick to you more than I would, or Marisa or Christina or Heather. So now actually, instead of you joining the virtual office and saying, hey, I'm dialing, I'm doing what you guys are telling me to do, I'm following the system, but it's just not working for me. Now there's no excuse, because you're gonna have every single different walk of life to compare it to. And you can say, okay, I'm more like her, I'm more like him, and I'm gonna make my words sound just like this person, and you will see the success. But like Heather said, in that whole virtual office, everyone there, guys, who has a slot is a top producer. They're at 30, 40, 50, 60 families. and we all do it for a reason, right? We all sound the same. So the main thing is though, you may know what I say and how I say it may not be the same way you're gonna say it, but then someone else could say the same thing that I say, just not as, direct and, pretty like aggressive per se, but it works with you guys. So just keep in mind that join that virtual office because it's really going to hone in your skills. It's going to make sure that you can book the appointments, sit in front of the amount of people you need to if you're doing in-home or even face to or like over the phone. You want to make sure you're keeping that activity. So join the office just like it's W-2. Think of it like you're doing a W-2 job and I have to clock in here from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I know that if I asked all of you, I can guarantee you guys $50,000 by doing a 12-hour call every single day. Would you do it? You all are going to say yes and run to the office and say, how can I do it? Keep that same mindset because all you have to do is make those phone calls. You will make the money doing it. You will help your family doing it. But if you're not on there trying to learn and get better and listening to people and actively, dialing as they are saying what they say after they say it, you get an objection. They say, okay, what did you just say? Write it down. Say it again. It may sound a little off the first time, but continue to say repetition and muscle memory. Over time, you're going to sound very fluid. So the main point of this office is, again, to get you guys to one guy told me one day, it pissed me off, asked me recently, he said, you need to sharpen your pencil. But when he told me that, first day I got pissed off about it. I was like, who's he telling me to sharpen my pencil? Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But he's really true at the end of the day, because at that point, he knew more than me about certain aspects. So then the same thing, guys, go to his office and sharpen your pencil. Like, think of it as like you're in the pencil sharpener. You're in the pencil, the home office is the sharpener. You're just putting it in. Just depends how long you have to put it in. And then obviously you have a very sharp pen, you keep it in long enough. So keep it like that, guys. Join the home office, please, the virtual office. It'll work.
Absolutely. And just to kind of hit on that, because everyone did a great job. Guys, I think the biggest thing that I want anyone that's listening on this call to really receive from this right now is we talked a lot about dial team. We never talked about virtual office, right? Like I am going to be treating this, and I'm not going to speak. Actually, I am going to speak for Heather, Rami, and Christina. Like, I know that the three of them are going to be treating this as if we go to a W-2 job, we clock in, meaning we get onto Zoom and we are working. And guys, when we're in this room, there are going to be people that are going to call you out. Like if you're sitting there and you're chilling and like you've been here for like a month and you're like that's weird. I'm just going to be honest. Like I've been the person dialing or live and like, I'm like, Susan, you've been contracted and had leads for 3 weeks. Like, Susan, we need you to dial, right? Also, if your camera's not on, you will be removed from the room. It's not personal. It's just a rule. There's going to be rules to the room. They're going to be heavily followed. And this is not something that's supposed to intimidate. It should inspire everybody on this call. When we all put this together, I can speak, I think, for Heather, Christina, Rami, Dominique Rogers, Kylie Somerville, Jesse, and the list goes on, that we were all inspired. We're all excited to be able to work together and be able to help each other's agents while helping our own and being able to help ourselves with personal productions. So it's like, at the end of the day, guys, this is going to be a win for everybody. But in order for that to happen, we have to make sure when we're on there, we're working, we're taking it seriously. We're on there to listen. That's cool. But once you have the leads, once you have the things that you need to do, go to work. There's not going to be people that are on there that are afraid to be like, hey, Heather, what are you doing? Like, why haven't you picked up the phone in 2 hours? Like, you good over there? Like people are going to call you out in a way that sometimes we have to be called out, guys, right? Like, just like Rami talked about the guy who told him to sharpen his pencil, right? Because Rami was talking about like, I don't even know. It was like something that Rami was not qualified to be like making an opinion on at that time. So I was like, to be fair, like Rami might have needed to sharpen his pencil that day. But guys, here's the thing is every time we go on to this virtual office, every time we show up to our job, right? Like it's going to serve us. It's going to sharpen our pencil, right? Even if that's tough love. Sometimes tough love is the best form of love. Because here's what I can tell you. Rami was wicked upset that day. He's like, this guy told me to sharpen my pencil. And I'm like, I don't even know what he was talking about at that point. But I knew he was upset. But once Rami settled down and explained why the guy told him to sharpen his pencil, because he was talking about like stocks, and Rami was like, your stocks are going to crash. And like, it was, it was funny. But at the same time, it's like, it was a fair time to tell somebody like, stay in your lane, right? And that's the same thing that's going to happen on the virtual office. It's going to be treated like an office. If we're not working, we shouldn't be at the office, right? Like we don't go to the office, like you're a water cooler hanger outer. If you're on Zoom, just like at the office, right? Like be active, be productive, be sharpening that pencil, because getting called out sometimes is the best thing. So where I was going with Rami sharpening his pencil, one day, like this many times, Sean might call me out. And to be honest, I wouldn't be the person I am today if Sean didn't do those things. So I'm forever grateful for them. Now, were they always the most like comfortable times? Like, as you can imagine, no. But were they very growth driven moments? Yeah. Like Sean walks up to me, he's like, so what'd you write this month? This is a long time ago, guys. Like I'm talking like 2019, debatably. And I was like, I don't know, like 25, 20, 25. I don't really. He's like, what do you mean you don't know? It's your business. And I was like, that's a great point. It's a really, really great point. And a week or so later, right, Sean walks up to me. He's like, what'd you write this week? And I was like, then I lied because I didn't know. And I was like 8,000. He's like 8 or 8, because he knew I didn't know. And what was he trying to do? He was trying to help me sharpen my pencil. Hey, you need to know what you're doing. Because if you're complaining about the result, or you're not enthused about the result, you're not excited about the result, like this is going to fizzle out, right? So he sat down with me and he's like, dude, like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to help 15 to 35 families, depending on how you're feeling that month? Or do you want to like be consistent and have a business? Like, which one do you want? And he wasn't mad at me either way, but it opened my eyes to, hey, some of the stuff I was doing at that time, I was early 20s, so forgive me, like I could have been doing better, right? So guys, sometimes we need to be called out, and it's really appropriate in this business. It's not always in a harsh way. So I'm just letting you guys know, hey, if Dominique is like, dude, your intro sucks, because that's how Dominique's going to say it, because that's Dominique, he's just trying to help you. Like, dude, what could I have said better? He's going to tell you, and he's going to go back. He's not telling you it to make you feel bad. He's telling you because he wants to help you, right? And he might add the F word. That is very fair, So but just so we're all on the same page, guys, it's like the way I looked at this was, there are so many micro dial teams, like Christina was saying in the beginning, that it doesn't make, and there's so many people that do show up, but then there's way more people that don't show up, right? So all the people that don't show up, and then the people that do show up, right? This group versus this group. It's like, okay, if we could get all the people that show up to be here, and then this group is just going to do whatever they're going to do, like this is a strong group, right? We have everyone now from East Coast to West Coast. So no matter what time zone you're on, you're going to have somebody on there with you. True freaking powerhouse. There's no other way to put it, Heather Robeson. That is correct. True powerhouse. So like, guys, get on this. Get serious about your goals. Get serious about your business. Decide what you want. 3 questions I will recommend everyone ask themselves before Monday, when we all get on that virtual office and we know who works here and who doesn't, is where am I at now? Where do I want to be? And what am I willing to give up to get there? And by the way, I will be asking myself those 3 questions right when we get off this call and going through it with myself. So guys, just when you get on this, I just want to make sure we're understanding, like, it's not like Dial Team. It's not going to be a free for all. No one's learning outside of. It's like, if your intro sucks for 3 weeks, no one feels bad for you, because that tells me that you're not practicing it. Or the way you're practicing it, you're not listening to your mentor to tweak and adjust it, right? So it's like, guys, let's all get better as a team. I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to be absolutely amazing. So thanks everybody for listening to me. I know I went from sharpening your pencil, but my whole point is we all need to sharpen our pencils sometimes, and we all need to be called out about sharpening our pencils sometimes. And that is completely okay. I actually appreciate it. So thanks.
No, thank you all for kind of giving your input. I truly appreciate it. Just to kind of clarify some things. So just like Marisa said, this is going to kick off this upcoming Monday. So essentially, the Dial Team information will now be turned into the virtual office. It will be in Slack. It's going to be emailed out. So we want to just make sure, as of Monday the 27th, when we're going to join live dials, that we're putting in the dialteam.fflall.com. Just to kind of give you guys like a breakdown of what this is going to look like. The general room essentially is going to be scheduled from 9 a.m. to about 9-10 p.m. Eastern time every day with top producers. So you're going to hear from Marisa, Rami, Heather, Dom, Kali, KG, Jesse. And outside of the general room, there's also going to be 2 other rooms available, and that's going to be the IUL training room. So if you know anything about FFL National, they have some of the top IUL producers in the whole company. Like if we probably pulled the top 10 IUL producers, probably half of them are from FFL National, like Depot, Jesse, Nick, I'm forgetting some people, but they're all going to be in that IUL room day in, day out, just doing what they do. So that's going to be massive for everyone, especially if you want to learn more about the IUL space. And then the third room is going to be the recruiting room. If you know Trey Honeycutt, you know no one recruits better than Trey Honeycutt. So we're not saying Trey's going to be running that room, but Trey will definitely be in and out of that room. So that's going to be a massive benefit for everyone as well. So we're super, super excited about the virtual office launch. If you have any questions about this at all, please feel free to reach out to me, your upline, whoever it may be. But starting Monday, guys, just like Marisa was saying, we want to become really committed to our goals, and you want to create a schedule. Like if you created a schedule and you're not sticking to that schedule, I just challenge you as of Monday to start sticking to it. And by default, there's no doubt in my mind, even if you absolutely suck right now, you're gonna start achieving your goals. You might not achieve them overnight, but if you truly plug into this virtual office and stay committed to your schedule, consistency wins every time. There's absolutely no way that you're not gonna start winning. So again, any questions at all about this, feel free to reach out to me. This graphic does need to be updated. It's gonna be, because a lot of agents are on Pacific time, it is gonna go later into the evening. So probably realistically 10, 11, 12 o'clock Eastern time. But our goal right now is to at least have scheduled Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time, locked out and scheduled with just top producers dialing live constantly. So everyone can plug in, get feedback in real time. And this is just gonna benefit everyone's groups, because instead of just hearing from me, Marisa, and Heather on our dial team, you're going to be able to get feedback from Dom. You're going to be able to get feedback from KG, Kali, Jacob, like whoever it may be. And another thing me and Marisa were just kind of talking about before we hopped on here is our goal over the next like 2 months or so is to get some of these top producers that are going to be working with our agency in the virtual office on the team call too, just so you guys can kind of build relationships with them. And become more familiar with what they do as far as personal production agency goes, because there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters on this virtual office. We are stoked about this. So I'm not going to stay here because I feel like we all may have just kind of thrown up on everyone, but guys, we're really, really excited, and you should be too, because if you want to actually take your business to the next level, this is going to allow you to, as long as you're willing to put the work in. All right, and last couple updates. Marisa, do you want to go over this? Actually, I'll do the first one. So we want to just make sure, if you haven't joined the new Facebook group, which I believe I kind of went through and invited everyone. If you're not my friend on Facebook, then I probably didn't invite you, so my bad. But I am gonna post the link in the chat, and I will also repost it again in Slack. So now with the virtual office, the Team FFL Facebook group is what's going to start being utilized, as opposed to the Solidity Facebook group. So if you haven't already joined that, please make it a point to go ahead and join that. Super amazing content being posted in there all day, every day. It's also going to allow you to become more familiar with everyone that you're going to be working with in the virtual office. So make it a point after this call to please join the new Facebook group. And again, I'm going to post that link in the chat in just a minute, and I will get it posted in Slack. I also touched on this at the beginning of the call. Guys, it's vital that we're submitting our numbers. Like, one, you're not going to get the proper recognition if you're not submitting your numbers, which is just bullshit. Like, why are you working and then you don't want to get recognized? Like, that's weird. Two, it's also not going to allow you to track how effective you're being in your business. So like, if you're submitting, like, for example, there's an agent that used to submit like 100 grand a week, and then she literally issue pay like $17,000 a month. So like, me and Marisa had to sit her down and be like, bro, you're submitting all these massive cases, nothing is being issue paid. Like, so on paper, on the submit graphics, it looks like you're crushing it, but like, you're broke. Like, what's going on? So it's like, guys, if you're not submitting your business, you're not taking like the proper 360 look at your business if you don't know what you're submitting as opposed to what you issue paying each month. So not only do you want to do it to be recognized, but you want to submit your business so you have the proper expectation of like, what am I writing? What am I actually getting paid for? What's actually being put in force for my clients? Like, you want to know that about your business. So please just make sure on the 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, and the last day of the month. I know that can be a bit confusing. Actually, you know what? It's really not that confusing. It's really not that confusing because we've been screaming about it for months. Just make sure we're submitting our business to the submit link that's located in Slack. It's also email blasted out. Guys, there's literally no reason why you're not submitting your business besides you're just being lazy and careless. At this point, everyone should know that on the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, and last day of each month, we submit our business to the submit link. The submit link has not changed in like over 2 years probably now, guys. So let's just lock it in. Please submit your business, not only for recognition, but for yourself, just so you can have a sense of what you're submitting to what you're actually issue paying. Because if those numbers aren't somewhat correlated, guys, you need help. You need to reach out to someone. So guys, let's just please make it a point to start submitting our business. All right, that's all I got.
Can I add something? I'm
Yeah,
going to add
of course
something
you
real
can.
quick because you know that I want to. There's two things. Number one, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but not sorry. So I'm going to be honest. If you don't submit your numbers, then Christina or Marisa has to pay somebody to take their time that they should be doing something else to go look on Slack to add your numbers up when you could simply have a little sheet that adds those numbers for you and you submit. It takes less than 30 seconds to submit. If there's any confusion, we could always do a video, but I don't think it's that confusing. But think of how rude you'd be if you're making somebody else pay their assistant to do your job that you need to do, right? Number two, we are a team. This is an awesome team. We're always on the leaderboard and that's incredible. We're a small team, but we're on the leaderboard all the time. Your numbers are included in those. But having that teamwork and making sure that your submitted numbers are submitted helps the team to report that. So guys, there's no reason not to submit your numbers. I didn't even know it was a thing. I just submit my numbers because that's what I'm supposed to do. Told what to do. So just do it. It's not that hard. It's so much easier now to know what the days are than what it used to be. It used to be on Wednesday nights. That was confusing, but now easy. 7, 14, 21, 28, and the last day. So submit your numbers, people.
Thank you, Heather. And one comment I will make, because like Steelman will do this sometimes, right? I think he's on the call. But if you write all your business and you know, like, okay, this is all the business I'm going to submit for this week, and it's the 5th of the week, it's the 5th of the month, right? Just submit your numbers on the 5th so you don't forget. Like, it doesn't need to be on the 7th. Like, if you know, like, okay, I'm going to Paris tonight, I might forget to submit on the 7th. Just submit them on like the 5th or something then. Just make sure you submit for that week. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And if
Yeah.
you're going to Paris, I want to see you working in Paris.
Yeah. But
Just
yeah,
kidding.
Marisa, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. You're cool with me wrapping up the last part of this, Christina?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I'm actually going to go bottom up, guys, just in terms of urgency. So agent CRM, that's essentially the CRM drip campaign that we've all kind of heard about. It acts like a ringy, but it has those built out workflows. So each and every single Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, you can take this link down, zoom.fflall.com. If you decide to get that CRM, there is a WhatsApp group. And they're really helpful with support from what I see and what I've experienced. So if you don't have a drip campaign, you're not using any type of power dial or anything of that sort, definitely get yourself on there. If you have one, but you're not utilizing it, get yourself on there because you're wasting money. And I've been there. So get yourself on there so you can learn how to utilize it. And then next thing would be, guys, post in Slack. Post your sales, and then the links to your social media posts. Like, for example, I tagged a lot of you this morning in like a post about, serving a family, X amount of AP, another family served. If we're able to do that, that's extremely important. and just at each other, you know, like I just put my Instagram handle in the chat. That way, guys, it's like people can see like, okay, it's not just Heather that helps people throughout the day. Like there's more people than Heather doing it, right? Because there absolutely is. So also making sure though that those posts are compliant, which means like we're putting like the AP is annual premium. We're not putting like, this is how much I got paid and this is my bank statement. That's not approved by anybody. Just to put that out there. And then this is the last thing and the most important thing I really want to hit on. Christina, go ahead. Do you have something?
Real quick, sorry. Guys, if you're sitting here like, what is the agent CRM center? Essentially, if you're a brand new agent and like you haven't even started dialing yet, don't worry about a CRM. Like what you need to be worried about right now is getting like a sideline app and just making your dials manually and figuring it out from there. But if you're a seasoned agent, you've been in the business for a few weeks, even few months, you're consistently writing production, not having a CRM, you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. So what is so special about the agent CRM? Guys, this thing is built out amazing. And one of the reasons why it's so amazing for FFL agents is because it was built by top producing FFL agents. So in that CRM, you'll have access to toolkits. You will not need to pay for it. The subscription for the actual CRM is about $99 a month. If you're subscribed to the toolkits outside of that, I think it's $40 a month. So that's already built in for you. You can get rid of that subscription, right? There's also a power dialer in there. There's automations that are already built out with you based on any type of lead that we have available in the ILC. Okay. So that's massive too. So you don't need to set up your Ringy account and build out all your automations. Heather, I know you love Ringy, so I'm not coming for you right now. I'm just trying to paint a picture of why this is so amazing. Literally.
Yeah, except I own both. So
yeah, Heather has both. That's a very fair statement. So you you add your ILC leads into this agent CRM, you tag them, and the automations are there for you, right? You don't need to worry about setting up these automations to reach out to these potential clients. Last but not, actually, two more things. When you register, it also builds a web page for you. So it's literally a whole web page that highlights you as an insurance broker that you can send to your clients to build credibility. It has your license information, all that good stuff on there. That's free. That's part of actually just having the agent CRM package. And last but not least, there's a whole lead center in there too. So that lead center has Facebook final expense. It has annuity leads in there. It has IUL leads. Like guys, this CRM is top notch. If you've been in the business for more than a few weeks and you are serious about your business and you're not already working with a lead vendor outside of FFL that has some sort of CRM for you, you need to check this out. You need to be on at 3 p.m. Eastern time, Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific time. If for some reason you can't get on this Friday, there is an overview every Friday. So just put it in your calendar for next week. You definitely want to check this out. The overview is about an hour or so long. Mike File, who will be on in the virtual office, he built this out with Jamie Euphemia, some of the most badass people in this industry. So guys, just get on, learn more about it. It's literally going to allow you to take your business to the next level. You're going to make way more money than you're spending on this CRM. Also about Slack, if you're not in Slack, please drop it in the chat right now. And before we get off this call, I'm going to have you join. Guys, Slack is so important that we're posting in there. And just to clarify, we want to just make sure that we're posting our sales in the daily sales channel. And then anytime anyone's posting on social media, we want to make sure that we're posting it in the social media channel that reads social media engagement. If you post your link in the social media engagement channel in Slack, you're going to get more engagement on your post, which is just going to make you look more credible. So it's like, even if you don't want to help anybody else and comment and like anyone else's post that's posted in there, post yours in there because it's for selfish reasons. It's just going to make you look more credible. If anyone has any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me directly. And Marisa, I love what you said. Me, her, and Rami sat down the other day and we realized like we're all always posting on our stories and whatnot, but like we're not necessarily always tagging each other in them. So if we as a team can come together, if one of your goals is to essentially market yourself on social media and build a business, us all tagging each other in each other's posts, that's going to make it way easier for everyone. So we're not going to sit there and be like, oh, I only have one post today. What can I post on my story? What can I post on my story? Oh, word, Heather tagged me in a story. Rami tagged me in a story. Marisa tagged me in a story. Afro tagged me in a story. I can just repost it. So, and then it also makes it look like if Heather is posting on her story all day about how great Heather is, that's great. People might be like, well, Heather's just really good. Like, do you know how many of my friends have said to me, no, your sister's just really good. Your sister's just really good. No one could do that. Maurice's just really fucking good, which she is. Maurice is amazing. Maurice is the most badass person in the universe, if you ask me. But you know what? Anyone could write the amount of production that Marisa writes and that she has wrote in her past, even in the months when she was writing 60, 70 grand a month, if they just work. So it's like when you're posting on on your social media story and you're showing Nathaniel made a sale, Marisa made a sale, Liz made a sale, it turns it into like, wow, anyone can do this instead of like the Marisa show. So I know I just went on a tangent, but I hope that makes sense to everyone. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. And seriously, if you're not in Slack, we need to get you in there. If you don't post in Slack, Trey Honeycutt taught me this like 2 years ago, it's a chargeback. And I'm not saying I wish that on anybody, but it just might be. So, all right, Marisa, I'm going to pass it over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Christina. Yeah, I probably should have just had you hit on that because you just like redid it, which was way better, by the way. So thank you. But okay, so guys, on a more serious note, we're going to pivot real quick. So compliance is huge in this industry. And to a point, I think this should go without being said, but I'm going to just hit on a couple of different things. Now, I want to be clear. If anyone has questions through this, like, ask the question. Like, I would rather you ask the question than the insurance company is asking you the question of why you did it this way, right? So we want to make sure everything we're doing is in a compliant manner. So what does compliance mean? Compliance means that whatever the insurance carrier is asking us to do as it pertains to the law of insurance and how we hold the physical license by being compliant. Guys, it means we're simply following the rules. That's what it means. And that's I don't know the actual definition, but that's what it actually means, is that we're following the rules. Guys, I get it. I've been on the phone with Susan, who's 84 years old, and she can't find the text code, and it's a mess, and she got declined with the first company, and you're on your third app. I get it. The insurance companies get it too. Here's what I want to say to that, guys, is we have to be compliant. The insurance companies are not stupid. If you're going to think for a second that you're going to send yourself a 6-digit code and type it in to pick your favorite company, and they're not going to come back and know that you signed it, they're going to know, guys. It might not come out today. It might not come out the day the policy issues, but it's going to come out, especially with the insurance carriers moving tech essentially from one realm of, they were used just as much as Family First Life and other IMOs prior to COVID were used to people being knee to knee with folks. That's what most of the insurance companies are very familiar with as well. Up until now, they're really catching up on it because they have to, right? If we're doing text to sign, email to sign, anything to sign, like, they realize like we had to put things in place to make sure that this floats about correctly as well. Because guys, the thing is the insurance carriers, they don't want to hurt us. They're our partners. We don't want to hurt them either. And we're hurting them when we're not compliant. If I think, oh, I'm going to get the America code sent to my phone, I'm just going to sign for Susan. No. That right there, you'll lose your license. Like, you can lose your license for that. I know people that have lost their license for way stupider things. Guys, don't be that person. If they can't sign, walk. If they can't sign, move on. There's too many options. American Amicable Senior Choice. You can read them an authorization with a 3-way call. There's too many resources and outlets between all the different carriers that we have that this should ever be a thing. And I'm just going to put it out there, guys. People are being actively terminated right now. They're being actively terminated for doing such things. I don't want anybody on this team to be a part of that, right? Like, we are compliant. We abide by the laws. We abide by what the Department of Insurance asks us to do. That's what we're going to do. We abide by what the insurance carriers ask us to do. because they're our partners and they're trusting that we're going to do our job correctly so that they can do their job correctly, right? And the biggest thing we could do is hurt somebody by signing. What I mean by that is I'm going to use myself as a fake example because I would never do this. I'm on the phone with 84-year-old Susan. She just can't seem to get the damn 6-digit text code. I'm on my 6th application with her or my last nerve, okay? Now I send Susan, I'm like, you know what, Susan, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. Do you give me authorization to sign for you? Which, by the way, that is not a thing. I do not care if they say, you can sign my checkbook, you can make a donation to your favorite cause. Guys, that is not a thing. We cannot sign for anyone under any circumstance, period. We are not their caretakers. We are not their power of attorneys. We're not any of that. We cannot sign for anyone under any circumstance. And you might be like, well, I never do this. This goes without being said. That's good. I'm happy that that's how you feel. That's perfect. That's what I'm going for. But for anybody out there, so let's just say, going back to 84-year-old Susan, she can't figure it out. I'm getting upset. I'm on my last nerve. So I send the text to myself, okay? Now it goes through and let's just say carrier A process it, approve, Susan's in force. Now Susan dies in a year from now. Guess what's still happening? The contestability period. I need everyone, if you are on this phone, you do telesales, you've thought about doing this before. Whether you did it or not, that was on you. If you did that and Susan dies in a year from now, you know what they're not doing? They're not paying out the insurance, because you know what they're going to do in that first 2 years? It's called the contestability period for a reason. The insurance company is going to contest it. They're going to say, Susan never even signed the damn app. You did. You signed the app. So you're terminated. And you're going to lose your license probably. Susan's family's not getting paid out. What did we really solve? We didn't, guys. Sometimes we want to solve this problem that's not necessarily a problem by just doing it for somebody else. Even in life, like, you know, like I'll want to like, you know, do things like for Christina when I don't see her often, just because like I want to be nice. I'm like, oh, can I bring your bag up the stairs? Like she's elderly or something. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but I just want to do something for her. So I can understand you might be like, well, it's coming from a good place. I just want Susan to get the insurance. No, no, no. Compliance needs to come first. We have to stay compliant. The moment we don't, and let's just say you lose one contract with one company. Guys, we have to remember the insurance companies talk like they're friends. Like it's like they're all linked on Instagram. Not really. Like, you know, I can't speak that. My point is they all communicate. So if you get terminated with Americo for doing that, I can promise you, Mutual of Omaha has it in their file. Like, that's just how the way of insurance works. Just like when we have a client get declined like 8 times, and then it pops up due to their insurance record. It's like, we have an insurance record too, guys. So we need to make sure that everything we're doing is just as we would do it if we were knee to knee, toe to toe with the client. If they can't get it signed, they can't get it signed. Move on if you can't find a solution. The solution will never, ever, ever be to sign for the client. I don't even care if it's like your brother. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't sign for Christina. You can ask her. I don't. She signs way different than me. I would be like, if they put it next to it, like they'll know it's not her. So guys, like everyone needs to be signing their own application, and we need to make sure we're never overlooking that. A couple other things just as it pertains to compliance. If your client is not getting the policy, like you need to make sure that they're getting the policy. I think that just is enough said. If anyone has questions, let me know. And then the last thing for right now that I want to hit on as it pertains to just being and staying compliant is, let me think this out for a second in terms of how I'm trying to say it. We want to make sure, because the thing is some of us are like, I would never think to do these things, and that's good. But at the same time, sometimes also our brains just go in 85 different directions. So these are all things that have happened, not in our group, but just like in the insurance industry, okay? When that gets reported to Americo and the Mutual of Omaha, do you think that when you send up your contracting to, I don't know, North American, that they're not going to see it and say, we don't want to work with you. We don't want to partner with you. You do bad business. You're not compliant. We have to remember, guys, the insurance carriers have a choice if they want to work with us or if they don't want to work with us. We're a partner with them. right? So, guys, stay compliant, be compliant. And one other thing I want to hit on in terms of compliance is churning business. Now, I don't believe we have an issue within this organization that I've ever seen or that's been brought to my attention of churning business. What that essentially means is, let's just say I write 20 applications this month with, we're just going to call it Americo Eagle for the sake of this conversation. And then in 12 months from now, I call 20 of those clients back and I say, hey, Heather, I'm just doing your annual review with you. And I say, Heather, I can actually save you about 20 bucks a month by going Mutual of Omaha. And then I'm switching my clients from company A to company B. That's called churning your business. It is not acceptable. It is not okay under most circumstances. There's going to be a circumstance, but here's what you have to do. You have to hit replace. Guys, there's a replace button for a reason. Now, there's going to be times where you're like, well, you told me not to hit replace. Yeah, because we didn't know if you were replacing it yet. But when you know you're replacing something, the replacement forms need to be appropriately filed. If they're not, again, just like the text message and the email signing, all that stuff is going to come back and bite you. Same thing, guys. I'm simply giving you all a heads up the same way that I would want to, that I got a heads up of, hey, this is happening. So if you were doing it, you were thinking to do it, just don't do it. Just don't do it. There's no reason to do that. So don't churn your business, and under no circumstance can you be signing for anybody. It's not worth putting your agent code at risk, I don't think, under any circumstance. I'm not going to put, because the way I see that, guys, it's not even just an agent code. It's literally your family's livelihood. You know, if this is what you're doing, you know, full time. The thought of losing my license makes me petrified. And whenever I'm in a position of, oh, maybe I should help Miss Susan sign it because she can't seem to find the 6-digit code, I remember I hold the license. That's how I feed myself and my family. And I need to make sure I hold that. And I can help Susan maybe with a different company, but I'm not going to, by any stretch of the imagination, sign for Susan. It's not worth it. So does anybody have any questions on that? Comments? Feel free to unmute.
One last thing about compliance, guys, too. One of the most remarkable things that we have is the Integrity Lead Center, since partnering with Integrity. And like one of the reasons why that's so remarkable is because all of the leads in there are compliant. So like, what does that mean exactly? It means that if you reach out to that potential client, you're not, we didn't get their information as a lead from any way that would be a violation to the FTC guidelines. Okay, so sometimes like if we're on LinkedIn, and I don't think anyone in our organization is having a problem with this, Trey did just ask us to speak on it a bit. For example, like if you're on LinkedIn, a lot of times people will send you messages that they have leads available. When you're working with outside lead vendors, it's just really important that you make sure that those leads are compliant so that they're not being generated via like telemarketing. Like people aren't being cold called, things like that, because that's another way where agents in FFL have lost their license, because essentially there are people that they almost just plant to essentially, like when they're contacted by these people that are just cold calling for like final expense or whatever it may be, they're literally there planted to essentially act interested. And then what ends up happening to the agent that writes the final expense policy is they end up losing their license. Their errors and omissions insurance has to be paid out. It becomes a situation that none of us want anyone on this call to be in. So again, I don't think that anyone on this call is using leads that are not essentially approved. If you're buying them through the ILC, you know that everything's golden. Any of the lead vendors that we're kind of partnered with, they're all good too. But if you have questions about a specific lead vendor, the number one question I always ask the lead vendor is, how is the lead generated? I need you to walk me through how that's generated. Is it a telemarketing lead? Like, what questions are you asking the client? Is the client responding to you? Because if they're reaching out to these potential clients, that's not a compliant lead. The client needs to have some sort of interest for it to be a compliant lead. So if anyone has any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me, Marisa, Trey, whoever it may be. We'll be able to kind of tell you if the lead vendor makes sense or doesn't. But if anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute.
I think we're good, but yeah, the question, guys, because like I get like 85, DMs a day about different leads, and I'm like, wait, like, aren't you like in a whole different country? Or they'll be like, I have 10 new agents that are so excited to get started. Like, can you help them? It's like, guys, like, ask more questions, just like you would to a client, because that's not normal. They're not just coming with you 10 agents that they brought in, and it just doesn't make sense. If you're confused about a lead, or you're in a situation where you're on the phone with somebody talking about leads, a direct question, if you have a yes or no, it should not be a, well, is the lead TCP compliant? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then the answer is you should not work that lead, because it gets you in trouble. Yeah, so the answer is no, you would not like the leads. But no, on all serious notes though, guys, I have so many things that have come in that I have reached out, and it goes back to this whole idea of like, sometimes people will say, oh, it's weak to reach out. Like, no. What would actually be weak is if you just like go with whatever the person's saying, and you don't ask any of like the hundreds of people you could ask, hey, is this normal? Hey, have you done this before? Have you seen this before? Etc. So guys, ask away, you know what I mean? Like, make sure that we're being compliant, we're doing the right thing by our license and by our client. Like, guys, I don't want anyone on this team to ever have a licensing issue or have to deal with like a Department of Insurance.